everyone, Dawn here, and today I want to go ahead and do the post-ride or post-race talk from the Cuyama Oaks 2018 endurance races. This time was our first time doing a multi-day ride, so we did a 25-mile on Friday and then another 25-mile on Saturday. That was going to be our big test to see if we can do a 50. I'm super conservative. Everyone's been telling me, do a 50, do a 50. It's gonna fix, his race brain. It's gonna do all this stuff, and you're ready, and so do it. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready yet. One of the things that I'm really cautious about using a 50 miler to fix his race brain is, if I don't have a handle on his race brain and then we tackle a 50, that means that he's going to be race brain until he gets totally worn out, which means that he could seriously hurt himself. So I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I really had a handle on his race brain first, and to be able to, better ensure that he's not going to hurt himself. And once again, he's going to get between me and the camera. Back. Hey, come here. Back. So that was my thing about the 50. A little history. So after the 20 mule team race, that's the one where we crashed and burned. We didn't even complete it. We did 25 out of the 35 miles, and then we pulled, and it was cold, and all the water tanks were frozen, and his water bucket had been frozen all night. I was like freaking out because it was just like I don't know, because I freak out. And then it turned out to be nothing, but still, I was like, ah! So that was a big crash and burn fail. That was in February 2018. So this was our first race after that. And it might seem kind of dumb because, after you crash and burn, you typically want to back up a step, right? But no, not us. We crashed and burned, and then I was like, okay, now let's try a multi-day. Let's go ahead and do two 25-mile races after we couldn't even finish that one in February, right? But it's not quite as reckless as it sounds, because I pretty much knew exactly why we failed and what went wrong and all that. So I knew that I could address those and that wasn't going to happen again. And ew, he just dripped. You're dripping like snot on me. You're so gross. So I knew that wasn't going to happen, so we were going to be fine. And sure enough, we crash and burn in February. We come back, we do a 25-mile, and the first one, we get first place. Now, this is a funny story because we were behind the first rider for a long time. So I'm just gonna, call that like second place, right? Because we were behind that person. And then as the race went on, I'm always trying to slow him down. So, but I also have to work with him because there's a balance. I don't want to hold him back so much that he's going to get pissed off and we're going to escalate and get into bigger and bigger and bigger fights. So I want to show him that I'm working with him. At the same time, I'm trying to get him to come and work with me too. So it's been this give and take this whole time. Well, so as the time went on, then more and more people passed us until it was where 5 people were ahead of us, and then I was in 6th place. So I figured, okay, yeah, I'm in 6th place. And we were just like cruising and stuff, and even when we got to the end, my daughter, my husband, and 2 guys, they were standing before the finish line, and just watching people come in. So we stopped and we talked with them, and we chatted and hung out for quite a while. And he was getting pissed off because those other 5 riders had gone on ahead, and the finish line was like right there, like we just go over there and then we're finished, right? And he wanted to do that. And so since he wanted that so bad and he was being kind of rude about it, because he did, and I was like, no, we're gonna hang out here and and chill out for a bit. And so we did. And so we hung out, and then once he was calm, and then we went ahead and walked on in. And then I think one thing that I do a little differently than most is we can walk in, we can trot in, we can run in. We don't really care because I always have my heart rate monitor on him, and I always check his recoveries, so I know how quickly he can recover. And a quick little jog isn't going to disturb those numbers. In fact, that's actually how they calculate CRI, cardiac recovery index. That's where they take the pulse, and then they have you trot out, and when you come back, they take the pulse again. Oftentimes, when everything's good, when the pulse is down and then you trot out and come back, the recovery pulse will be even lower than the beginning. That's a cardiac recovery index. So I'm like, I do that with him all the time. So I know it's not a big deal with him, and because I'm constantly monitoring it. But anyway, so we get in. Because at one point I'm like, okay guys, well, I better go. We still gotta officially finish this race. So we get back, and then we do everything, and then they tell us, oh, you're in the first place, you're the first 25 miler to come in. And I was like, oh wow, all those other people were 50 milers, cool. So instead of 6, we're actually in first place. And then we get everything done, take off all his tack, and get weighed for the BC and all that stuff. And then the second LD rider comes in, and he comes in and he is like livid, and I don't even know this guy or anything, right? So he comes in and he points at Lasser, and he goes and he yells at the vet, and he's like, are you pulling that horse? And she's like, no, they just completed the LD. And then he was like, no, she went off course, and she went off track, and and all this stuff, basically saying that I cheated. But then he was running around to everybody else there and going, did she pass you? Did she pass you? No, she never passed me. She never passed me. She never passed all these other people. So she went off course and she cheated and all this stuff. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I don't think I did, because I was behind those 5 people the whole time. Or those 5 people and us, we were riding the whole entire time together, back and forth from the very beginning on. It was just back and forth. So I was with them, and I was actually pretty proud that we came in and we didn't get lost. But here he was saying that I got lost, and I'm like, I couldn't even defend myself, because I'm like, well, that is a possibility. You know me. I mean, anybody who knows me knows that getting lost is always a possibility in my life, right? So, but now if he had just come up to us and said, hey, I think you made a wrong turn, or something like that, I would have been all like, okay, yeah, we probably did. I don't know, what do you want? What do we do? I don't know. I never know where I am, what time it is, what day of the week it is, at any moment in my life. I never know any of these things, right? So anyways, but he didn't come to me like that, or to other people like that. He came out livid, like pissed off that I was a cheater, and that bothered me a lot, enough to where I actually wanted to quit. I was like, I told everyone, I was like, you know what, just give him the first place. It obviously means so much more to him, and it obviously just means so much to him. Just let him have it. He can have first place. I don't care. I don't really want to be disqualified though, and I don't want to be banned from ARC because I'm a cheater though. So that forced me to have to defend myself, and I don't like doing that. I would rather walk away than to be like wrapped up in drama. So that was basically what I was looking at. I was going to quit. I was just going to pack up and quit and just go home right then and there, even though we had paid for the 2 days and all that stuff, right? And I was supposed to stand for best condition because we got first place. But I actually took Lacer up to the BC, and then I told the vet, I was like, you know what? I don't even want to do it. And you know, she's all like, why? And I'm like, well, because then I have to compete against him again, and I don't even want to. Just let him have it. He can have it all. I don't care. At this point, I just want to go home. I'm just like, you know, I'm just done. I'm just disillusioned with the whole thing, because it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be like this. So yeah, it was a really down moment for the two of us, and we have a picture showing it. And then a little bit of time went by, and so of course people were like, well, Dawn, you have a GPS. Show us your map. Well, here's the thing. Because I'm dumb, I forgot to turn my GPS on for the first several miles into the course. This isn't something I did on purpose, obviously. This is something I do when I'm at home. I forget everything. So it wasn't until later on that I turned it on. Well, when I finally turned it on, that chunk of trail at the beginning that I was missing on my GPS, that was the part that he was saying that I cheated on. So of course, now it looks like, you know, I could have purposefully forgot to turn it on so that there wouldn't be any evidence of my deceit, right? So I was like, I was even more upset. But then Andy was like, hey, well, what about your GoPro? Because I wear my GoPro camera. Your GoPro will show all the turns and all that. And I was like, yeah, but you got to download the videos onto a computer and da-da-da-da-da, and we don't have that here. Well, it just so happened that I brought my 20-year-old laptop that I used back in college to this ride. I practically never bring my laptop to a ride. The only reason why I brought the laptop to a ride was in case at this ride, they can download the maps onto your GPS. But I learned from last time that they couldn't download it to my watch. My watch is a Garmin Fenix 5X. And that is a brand new technology and new cable and all that. And even when I brought the cable and everything, they said that they couldn't download it to my watch. So this time I thought, okay, well, I'll bring my laptop and a USB drive. So maybe they can download the maps to the USB drive. Then I can take the USB to my laptop, and then my laptop to my watch, and that is how I can get all my maps onto the watch. And it worked. So that was the only reason why I had the laptop that day. So I sat there, but it's a 20-year-old laptop, and GoPro videos are very long and heavy, and this laptop is probably about to die. Like when I turn it on, it clicks. I can hear it clicking like it's like, you know, it's trying to die. So anyways, it took like 2 hours for me to download all the videos onto my laptop, but I got it done. Then I took the laptop and my GPS and everything, and I took it over to Dr. Nicholson, Duck, and he actually wanted to review all of this because of how angry this guy was over this whole thing. I mean, this guy was so livid that the Duck said he needed to see evidence. He needed to see proof. So I went in there, and I thought he'd just maybe glance at it and stuff. No. He sat down and watched every bit of it, and which is really embarrassing, I'll tell you, because when I'm out on trail with Lacer, I talk to him a lot. You know, I talk shit because he's bad, and you know, it's I don't even know how to say this. It's private. It's like raw data. It's like stuff that you don't you don't want other people to see necessarily, especially not the duck, Dr. Nicholson, the like, ah, right? And here you are going, here, yeah, watch me yell at my horse and, squealing like a little schoolgirl because we're going down this really steep cliff and I was scared shitless. Stuff like that. So, anyways, he watched it all and was able to confirm that I was on the track the entire time. Yes, I got lost a few times, but I turned around and came right back, and we did the course. That the GoPro footage plus my GPS proved in no uncertain terms that we were not cheaters. Yay! Which was a big relief to me, right? And then you're thinking like, well, Don, if you were innocent this whole time, why were you even nervous? And it's like, because I didn't even know if I was innocent or not. I could have. I don't know. You don't ever want to follow me anywhere because I get lost everywhere. And, it's like, it was a rare occasion that I didn't get lost. And an occasion to be celebrated. So anyways, that was the big thing. But this whole story, okay, now I don't want to talk drama and all that stuff, but this whole story was just to illustrate to you another pro to having a GoPro and or a GPS that I never even thought of before, and that's to cover your ass if something like this was to happen. Because apparently this is kind of a rare case, I guess, but it's not unheard of. This has happened to other riders before, and maybe they had other riders to back them up as witnesses, maybe not. And so, he was saying that he had riders that could back him up. Well, I was saying that I had riders that could back me up. Those 5 people that were top 5 50-milers, they could all back me up. We were all like this the whole time, so they could back me up. But then he was saying he had people to back him up. And then you're going to make this whole big thing, out of this race where all these people are involved and fighting and stuff, and it's not good. So, it's better that I was able to just, with my own data, back me up, So that is a huge plus, and a huge plus to me always having all these gadgets and redundancies and I never even knew that it would have played this type of a role, but it did. So now, it's like, oh, that guy was bad and all that stuff, and he shouldn't have been like that. Absolutely. But you know what? It's not that big a deal, because what ended up happening is, I think that a lot of people think that LaSarah and I are racers. And it doesn't help that I used to race motorcycles. It was just club racing. But still, people are like, oh my gosh, Dawn is, she's a speed junkie and stuff. Well, that's not absolutely true. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was racing motorcycles, there was this race where I took off from the start like perfect, and I was so ahead of everybody I could not see anybody around me. It got to the point I was alone on the track. I got so scared that I had done something wrong that, I don't even know why. There should have been guys all around me. I should have been fighting guys off, but no, there was nobody around me. So in the middle of the race, I slowed down, and then all of a sudden 3 people passed me, and I was like, oh shit, we're still going. And then I was able to pass the third person, so I ended up getting 3rd place. Well, everybody saw this on the track, right? Because there's an announcer and everyone was thinking, what is Dawn's problem? She just threw the race. How stupid is that, right? Well, that wasn't what I was thinking. I came into the pits I rode in and I was like this. I was like, oh my God, did you see what happened? I was like totally first. And then these three guys passed me and then, and I got third place, but who cares? That's fine because and I was like, ha ha ha, like that. Well, I got my ass handed to me. Guys were pissed because I threw the race. And then it stopped becoming fun for me because then I was like, dude, chill out. Why do you care more about this race than I do? It was my race to throw if I wanted to throw it. I didn't do it on purpose. It was a simple mistake. And it's kind of like, because to me, once I was up first, I knew that I had won pretty much. And then it didn't really matter anymore, If I am that good, I can win again. It's not a big deal, and even though, three people passed me, but then I still passed that one person right back. So then I was happy with that, right? But some people take these races really, really seriously. And even though I like to race, I'll make anything a race. Race you to the car, first one to the elevator, stuff like that. I do that all the time, but it's always in good fun. And I'm never gonna risk anybody's happiness or health or anything over a race, because at the end of the day, what are you really gonna get out of a race? The best thing that the race can give you is it's a situation where you can put your best foot forward, right? Yeah, let's try our best, let's do our best, let's go for it. This is the race. That's the spirit of the race. But all of this unsportsmanlike behavior, it's not even worth it. The race only validates what you already have. Either you have it or you don't. First place should be like, oh, we got first place, awesome. First place shouldn't ever be like, okay, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you because we have to win. Oh, see, he responded right to that. I'm just giving an example. It shouldn't ever be, I'm gonna stomp on you. If you see someone hurt, I'm gonna kick you, and I'm gonna, I don't know. All this unsportsmanlike stuff. It should never be about that, because once your attitude is like that, you already lost. That is not a winner. Are you okay? I think his hay was a little dusty. But yeah, winning should be like putting on your favorite pair of jeans that already fit. It should fit like a glove. You shouldn't have to force it to fit. You shouldn't have to cheat to make it fit. You shouldn't have to kill anybody to get it, It should just come on naturally. That's what a winner is. And so, that's how we race. Now, actually, I think he's more competitive than I am, because he's all like, yeah, I want to smash into these horses and da-da-da. And I've been trying to teach him better sportsman-like behavior. No, we don't smash other horses. We still got to be nice. And if somebody is hurt or someone needs help, then we do need to slow down and help them out. Because, that's the proper way to race. So, anyways, hopefully that clears a lot of things up. Oh, what I was saying is, because I won first place at 60 Años, and then this is my next race with the XP group, and then I won first place again, I was worried that they thought that I was a racer. And in fact, on the trail, Duck saw me and he pulled me over. It was like being pulled over by the cops on the freeway. It was really scary. But he pulled me over and said, I need to look at your horse. So he checked him out and he was like, okay, fine, you can go. And he just said it like that. It wasn't, he wasn't like super nice about it. So then I was like, oh my gosh, I bet you he thinks that I'm killing my horse to win because I really want to win. And it's not like that. It's more like, slow down, we're going too fast. It's like that. But I can't ever tell anybody that and have them believe me. But this time Duck watched my GoPro videos, so then he saw for himself all the stuff that I did to try and slow him down. So then a bunch of people now know that I'm not a crazy racer, and in fact I do know what I'm doing and talking about, kind of, or I try with him, with what I got to work with, right? All right, so now I'm going to talk about the stuff that we learned at this race. For our first race, day one, we got first place, which is great, but I didn't want to get first place. I was actually shooting for middle of the pack for both days because it was our first time doing a 2-day race back to back. So I wanted to play it easy. So I wasn't happy that we got first place because it probably meant that we were going too fast. And so then that made me think, okay, well, definitely for second day, we have to slow it down tremendously. And then I didn't think that it'd be that much of an issue because he should be tired, right? Oh my goodness, he was still pulling. He was still pulling for the second day. But the good thing is, you know, my videos and stuff, you see he has the race brain and all of this. Well, every single race that we go to, each time he gets better and better with his race brain. It actually, I think the 20 mule team race, that was the one that was like we hit the peak of what I could tolerate, because for those of you on Facebook and saw, I was really torn up after that race. He hurt me pretty bad. My legs were torn up and stuff, but it wasn't all because of him. It was because of the extreme cold. But anyways, that race and his behavior in that race basically made me think, made me wonder if I should go ahead and put a bit back on him. But then I was like, well, honestly, the only reason why a bit would work or do anything more than a bitless is because I can hurt him with a bit. You know, I can pop him in the mouth and make him listen, make him pay attention and not ignore me, right? The bit is not as ignorable as bitless. And then when I thought of it that way, I was like, I don't want to do that, you know? And then I was like, well, you want to die? And I was like, no, I don't want to die either, but I think we can do it. I think we can do it bitless. Let's just keep trying. He has to get better. And in fact, he did. Now, part of the reason, a different technique I used is, before I used to go more like, stop it, stop being such an ass, you slow down, you know, like that. This time I tried whistling and calling him to me. Now it seems kind of stupid because I'm on his back, but the theory is, come back to me, come back here, come here. You know what here is, you know how to come to me, come here, stay by my side. Don't be thinking to chase. The other thing that I would say to him is, instead of going, slow down, you know, I was saying more like trot, walk, because he knows what those words are. So in other words, instead of trying to tell him what not to do, I was telling him what to do. And this does have a basis. It is much more powerful to envision what you want than, because you can't envision what you don't want, sort of. Okay, so the reason why that works is because of the theory that if you want to communicate with something that doesn't speak your language, you gotta try to think in terms of emotions and feelings and pictures. And so when I verbalize, let them go, there's something that happens within myself that then can maybe translate into something more meaningful to him, that'll let him know what it is that I do want out of him, which is, you know, let them go. So I don't know what really worked or not. Sometimes it seems like it did, sometimes it seems like it didn't. But overall, he was much better this time than any other time. And it seems like just, even if I didn't do anything at all, I think with time and experience, then it's just going to get better. So happily to say that now I am certain that we don't ever have to go back to a bit, and we will be able to do this bitless. And in fact, I think I can do it with just a rope halter. Maybe not this next time, but next year, whatever. So that was a great thing. Something else that worked really great is this DIY map holder that I made. And I have a whole little tutorial and showing you what I did. But basically for the XP ride, they are using this extra long paper that is not normal sized. And the whole thing fits into this plastic wrap without having to fold it. And then I attach it to my pommel, and that means that when I'm done with it, I just have to roll it up and I stick it in my drink holder, or stick it anywhere, and then when I need to check out the map, it's really quick like that. Because one of the things that I don't like to do is stopping, digging through a little pouch and then unfolding a map and then, all that stuff. This is just so much easier. I just do this, I don't even have to roll. I just fold it up and just stuff it somewhere real quick. And so that worked really well. The other thing that worked really well was these microfiber mitts, because Lacer doesn't like his face touched at all, even with me touching him and stuff, but he actually likes this microfiber mitt. And at races, when his face is all sweaty, then he will try to rub on everything, and all he can think of is to get that sweat off of his face. And so with this microfiber cloth, it holds a ton of water, and then it has all of these little grippy fingerlings, and it is super, super soft. And so it grips hair, it grips sweat, and it's super soft, and he loves the feel of it on his face. And when otherwise I'd be all like, I can't, get your head down here, and he'd be all like, no, don't touch me, stuff like that. So such a brat. All right, not talking to you either right now. So anyways, this is great. And of course, you can put your hand inside, and then when you do this, then it's really great because you can grab the limbs and stuff and get his legs and stuff. The scoot boots were perfect for the first day when we got first place, and other people had lost easy boots and renegades, and I believe I was the only person with the scoots, and we did not lose a boot all weekend. So that was a huge win for the scoot boots. Now I did do something different this time in that I used Sikaflex underneath the just on the sole in the regular scoots. I actually we use a combination of the Scoot Slims and the regular scoots, and the Sikaflex, and that combination worked great. Now on the second day, we had a ton of mud, and this isn't your regular mud. This was evil, horrible mud that was had supernatural powers. It doesn't dry out. It doesn't dissolve in water. It clings onto everything. In the past, when I've encountered this, I was like, I don't even know what to do with this mud. This is like superhuman mud. And one suggestion was to have a towel so that you can use a towel and wipe it off. Oh my gosh, this mud will clog up any towel you have, and then you have this completely muddy towel that you now have to figure out how to put on your saddle, and if it bounces around, it's going to go flinging everywhere and stuff. I guess we could put the towel inside another baggie and then put it in a bag, but I don't know. This mud was just horrible. But in this mud, it was defeating hoof boots left and right. It was making it so that the boots could turn, but they never came off. I never lost a boot. And in fact, even when they turned and then wedged in a way that it didn't rub, it didn't affect his gait. He just acted like it was fine, and it was actually extremely secure. So I almost want to look into how did they wedge themselves, because if we can figure out that and make a boot design like that's just how it naturally sits, we might have a new boot that can withstand this kind of mud. So it has to do with the toe going, I don't know, I can't describe it right now. I got to look more into it. But the scoot boots worked awesome this race weekend, and we had no issues whatsoever, so that was awesome. The other thing that worked great, and Lasser's telling me that I'm now done with the camera. Am I done? Okay, hold on. Was the skirt. Yeah. So this is Arctic skirt, and it was amazing. Oh my gosh. So when I got this skirt, there was some talk, because it's like, oh, you're in Southern California, you'll never even use it. You'll never need something like that. No, this thing was awesome. Now, it doesn't hurt that I'm like that little skinny chihuahua that's always shaking in the corner because they're always cold. That's me. So that doesn't hurt that, that I'm like that. I love this skirt, but it cuts the wind, and the wind affects me. It affects my calm. So it cuts the wind and the cold, and it doesn't really get hot to me when we're using it in a cool environment, right? So, and I can take it off at any time, even when I'm riding. I was using a rump rug, but the rump rug was a pain in the butt. I really got to figure out a better way to tie it and stuff, so that I can easily wrap it up and tie it and take it off and store it. Without the rump rug, this skirt was just awesome, because we'd run, and then I just reach back and gather up the skirt and pull it up to me. And then when we decided to walk and cool down, I just throw the skirt over his butt, and that would keep him from cooling too fast. And it was just super easy. I just toss it, when I wanted to cover, pull it back and stuff, and gather it around my legs, and it was just perfect. It was just so easy and awesome. Also, that mud and the water and the rain and all that, it stood up to it great. Now it did get all muddy, and it was like all muddy by the end of the weekend. I got home, I tossed it in the wash, and now it's perfect again. So easy. And then now the thing that wasn't good about it was when I got off and we're going down this super steep trail where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm walking, I'm on foot, and I'm like, I'm going to die, so, and he's behind me walking. My skirt was actually dragging on the ground because the ground was higher behind me. So it was actually dragging. So I did have to gather up my skirt to make sure that he didn't step on the skirt while he's walking behind me. And then when I was washing his boots in the creek, they got wet, but it wasn't bad and stuff, but I just had to gather the skirt up around me. So I don't know, it worked perfectly. I absolutely love it, and it is essential piece of gear for me. Everything else pretty much worked great. I can't think of, we tested out a ton of stuff, and this was just a great weekend. I really love the XP rides now. Dr. Nicholson and his wife Annie, and the other vets there, and the people. There's some really interesting people there and stuff. When I first started doing the XP rides, I was a little scared because it almost seems like they discourage people from going to their rides. They're kind of like, oh yeah, it is going to be horrible, so don't come. And I'm like, what? But they're actually really awesome people, and I really like how laid back they are and stuff like that. So totally love them and their rides, and looking forward to more. Now, On a parting thought, our next ride is probably going to be a 50 miler. We might go ahead and do that only because the next ride coming up that we can do is Descanso, and that actually happens to be our first 25-mile ride about 9 years ago. And so I thought it'd be kind of poetic if that was our first 50. Plus, that ride is a Saturday, Sunday, and we have to come back on Sunday. We can't ride on Sunday, so that means only one day of riding for us. And if I'm going to do a one-day ride, do I really want to do a 25? Because at this point, 25s are kind of easy for us. Not super easy, but you know what I mean. You know, we've done 25s. So the next challenge up would be a 50. Now, unfortunately, I think that a 50 is still I mean, that's a huge jump. From 25 to 50, you're instantaneously doubling the miles. You know, anything could happen. Plus, the chances of us getting lost is even greater when you double up the miles, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, the stress. But it seems like I'm never happy with anything too easy. It always has to be that step up to where I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna die. And then that's what I consider a true test and worthy of going out and attempting. So anyways, that's what we're gonna do. And so wish us luck and hope this helps. And I will talk to you all later. Bye guys.